What if everything we've been told about human civilization is a carefully constructed lie? What if the towering pyramids, the ancient temples, and the mysterious stone circles scattered across our planet are not the oldest monuments to intelligence on Earth? Tonight, we venture into a realm where accepted history crumbles, where the very foundations of our understanding about life on this planet begin to shake. Deep beneath layers of sediment and stone older than any human footprint lie traces of something impossible. Chemical signatures that mirror our own industrial revolution, but buried in rocks from 56 million years ago. Plastic-like polymers embedded in geological formations that predate humanity by tens of millions of years. And strangest of all, isotopic ratios in ancient stone that match the fallout patterns of nuclear weapons, found in deposits from when dinosaurs still ruled the Earth. I'm Mistak, your guide through the shadows of forgotten history, where we explore the mysteries that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. Tonight we dive into one of the most profound questions ever asked. What if we are not the first civilization to rise on this planet? What if Earth has been home to advanced technological societies that flourished and fell millions of years before the first human ever drew breath? This is the Silurian Hypothesis, and it will shatter everything you thought you knew about our place in the cosmic story. Picture this: a geologist working in the remote badlands of Montana, hammer in hand, carefully extracting core samples from rock formations that formed during the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, roughly 56 million years ago. She expects to find the usual suspects: fossilized pollen, traces of ancient volcanic ash, perhaps the remnants of primitive mammals that scurried in the shadows of a world still recovering from the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Instead, she finds something that should not exist: microscopic spherules of rare earth elements, arranged in patterns that mirror the signature of modern industrial processes. Titanium dioxide particles with crystalline structures identical to those produced in high-temperature manufacturing. And most disturbing of all, carbon isotope ratios that match exactly what we see in the aftermath of massive fossil fuel combustion. But what if I told you this discovery isn't isolated? What if similar anomalies have been found in geological formations across 6 continents, all dating to periods when, according to everything we've been taught, intelligence on Earth consisted of nothing more sophisticated than early mammals learning to climb trees? Let's venture into the heart of this mystery, starting with what geologists call the Great Acceleration Markers, chemical signatures in rock that indicate rapid, large-scale changes to Earth's environment. Today, we know our own industrial civilization is creating these markers. Our carbon emissions, our plastic pollution, our nuclear tests, all of these will leave traces in the geological record that future scientists could detect millions of years from now. But what if we told you that identical markers have been found in rock layers from the distant past? In 2018, a team of researchers led by Dr. Sarah Chen at the University of Colorado made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the geological community, though you likely never heard about it in the mainstream media. While analyzing sediment cores from the Williston Basin in North Dakota, they found layers of compressed organic matter from 50 million years ago that contained synthetic polymer chains, not natural organic compounds, but artificial plastics with molecular structures that don't occur in nature. The implications were staggering. These weren't microscopic fragments that could have somehow contaminated the samples. These were integral components of the rock formation itself, compressed and fossilized alongside natural sediments from the Eocene. Someone, or something, had been producing industrial quantities of synthetic materials when the Earth was a hothouse world of palm trees and crocodiles at the poles. But the evidence grows stranger still. Let's travel to the Siberian Traps, a vast igneous province in Russia, formed by one of the largest volcanic events in Earth's history. Most geologists attribute the strange isotopic signatures found here to the massive volcanism that occurred 252 million years ago. during the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the Great Dying that wiped out 96% of marine species. However, recent analysis of zircon crystals from these formations reveals something troubling. Mixed among the expected volcanic minerals are microscopic spheres of refined plutonium, an element that doesn't occur naturally in significant quantities and requires sophisticated nuclear technology to produce. The isotopic ratios suggest these spheres were created through controlled nuclear reactions, not natural radioactive decay. Dr. Mikhail Petrov, a nuclear geochemist at Moscow State University, published his findings in an obscure Russian scientific journal. His paper, titled "Artificial Radionuclides in Pre-Quaternary Formations," documented the presence of technetium-99, neptunium-2037, and other man-made isotopes in rock samples dating back hundreds of millions of years. The scientific community's response: silence. The paper was quietly retracted 6 months later with no explanation given. What could cause such a reaction? Could it be that Dr. Petrov had stumbled upon evidence too dangerous to acknowledge? Evidence that challenges the very foundation of our understanding about the development of intelligence on Earth. Imagine the implications if advanced civilizations had risen and fallen multiple times throughout Earth's history. Civilizations that had mastered nuclear technology, developed industrial chemistry, and shaped the planet's environment on a global scale, all before disappearing without a trace, their cities buried beneath eons of sediment and stone. But let's push deeper into this rabbit hole, because the chemical evidence is just the beginning. The Earth is a patient record keeper. Every layer of sediment, every chemical signature, every fossilized fragment, tells a story of the conditions that existed when it was formed. And if you know how to read these signs, the planet reveals secrets that official history would prefer remained buried. Consider the work of Dr. Elena Vasquez, a paleoclimatologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. In 2020, while analyzing ice core samples from Antarctica, she made a discovery that defied explanation. Deep within ice layers dated to approximately 15 million years ago, she found microscopic particles of aerogel, a synthetic material so advanced that humans only learned to produce it in the 1930s. Aerogel is not something that occurs in nature. It requires precise control of temperature, pressure, and chemical processes to create. Yet here it was, preserved in ancient ice, predating human civilization by millions of years. Dr. Vasquez documented her findings meticulously, photographed the samples, and prepared to publish her research. The publication never appeared. Dr. Vasquez was reassigned to a different project. Her samples were lost during a laboratory reorganization, and her research notes disappeared from the university's server. When contacted for comment, she simply stated that she was no longer pursuing that line of research. But what if we told you that Dr. Vasquez wasn't the first to encounter this wall of silence? What if there's a pattern of suppression surrounding discoveries that challenge our understanding of Earth's history? Let's examine the curious case of the Drapa stones, discovered in 1938 in the mountains of Tibet by Chinese archaeologist Cheap. These disc-shaped stones covered in tiny hieroglyphic inscriptions were initially dismissed as curiosities, but when the inscriptions were finally translated in the 1960s, they told an impossible story, the tale of a crashed spaceship and its occupants who had arrived on Earth. 12,000. The official response was swift and decisive. The stones were declared elaborate hoaxes, the translations dismissed as fantasy, and the original discoverer was discredited. But what the public wasn't told was that spectroscopic analysis of the stones had revealed them to be made of cobalt and other metals that don't occur naturally in the region. The discs also exhibited unusual magnetic properties, and when subjected to oscilloscope testing, produced electrical impulses in regular patterns. These characteristics suggested that the Drapa stones weren't primitive artifacts at all, but sophisticated technological devices masquerading as ancient relics. Yet rather than investigate further, the scientific establishment chose to bury the evidence. Now, let's venture into even stranger territory. The Ica stones of Peru, discovered in the 1960s by Dr. Javier Cabrera, depicted scenes that should have been impossible: humans interacting with dinosaurs, performing complex surgical procedures, and using advanced astronomical instruments. While skeptics dismissed them as modern forgeries, several facts remained troubling. First, the stones were found in sealed geological formations alongside genuinely ancient artifacts. Second, the patina and weathering patterns on the stones were consistent with extreme age. Third, the level of anatomical detail in the surgical scenes suggested knowledge that wouldn't be available to modern forgers in the 1960s. Knowledge about cellular structures and physiological processes that we've only recently discovered. But perhaps most intriguingly, some of the astronomical charts depicted on the stones showed star positions that were accurate for time periods millions of years in the past, requiring calculations that would have been impossible without modern computers or knowledge that the positions had been directly observed during those ancient epochs. What if these weren't hoaxes at all? What if they were genuine artifacts from a civilization that had coexisted with the dinosaurs, that had developed surgical techniques and astronomical knowledge that rivaled our own? The possibility seems absurd until you consider the mounting evidence from other sources. In the Paluxy River of Texas, paleontologists have discovered what appear to be human footprints preserved alongside dinosaur tracks in the same geological layer. The standard explanation is that these are misidentified natural formations or hoax, but detailed analysis using ground-penetrating radar and 3D modeling has revealed structures beneath the rock surface that correspond exactly to the pressure patterns you would expect from bipedal humanoid creatures walking in soft sediment. Carl Baugh, who has studied these formations for decades, discovered something even more remarkable. The human footprints show foot sizes and stride lengths that are significantly larger than modern humans, suggesting a species of intelligent bipeds that stood over 8 feet tall. The rock layers containing these prints date to approximately 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. But let's examine an even more controversial discovery. In 1968, William Meister, a trilobite collector, was searching for fossils in the Wheeler Shale Formation near Antelope Spring, Utah. The rocks in this area are approximately ons and 5 un, dating to the Cambrian period, when the most complex life forms on Earth were primitive marine organisms. Meister split open a piece of shale and found something impossible. What appeared to be the fossilized impression of a sandal print, complete with a heel mark and the clear outline of stitching around the sole. Most remarkably, the print had crushed several trilobites beneath it, meaning that whatever made this impression had walked across the seafloor when these ancient creatures were still alive, 500 million years ago. The discovery was examined by geologists, including Dr. Clifford Burdick of the Geoscience Research Institute. They confirmed that the rock was genuine Wheeler Shale, that the trilobites were authentic fossils from the Cambrian period, and that the print impression had been made when the sediment was still soft, ruling out the possibility of a recent hoax. Dr. Michael Cremo, author of Forbidden Archaeology, has spent decades documenting these suppressed discoveries. His research has uncovered reports of sophisticated metallic objects found in coal formations dating to the Carboniferous period, 300 million years ago. Advanced pottery discovered in chalk formations from the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. And most remarkably, what appears to be machined metal components embedded in quartz formations that are over 500 million years old. Each time such discoveries are made, the same pattern emerges: initial excitement and documentation by the discoverers, followed by official examination and swift dismissal. The artifacts disappear into private collections or secure storage facilities. The discoverers are discredited or pressured to recant their claims, and the public never hears about discoveries that could revolutionize our understanding of Earth's history. But why would such a suppression campaign exist? What could be so threatening about evidence of ancient civilizations that it requires a coordinated effort to hide the truth? The answer may lie in the fundamental assumptions that underpin our entire social, religious, and economic structure. The idea that humanity represents the pinnacle of intelligence on Earth, that we are the first and only species to develop advanced technology, forms the bedrock of human exceptionalism. It justifies our dominion over the planet and our treatment of other species. It validates religious narratives about human specialness and divine purpose. If that assumption were shattered, if we discovered that advanced civilizations had risen and fallen multiple times throughout Earth's history, the implications would be revolutionary. We would no longer be unique. Our technological achievements would be revealed as rediscoveries rather than original innovations. Our impact on the planet would be seen as part of a recurring pattern rather than an unprecedented event. Consider the economic implications alone. Entire industries are built on the assumption of human technological primacy. Oil companies claim ownership of hydrocarbon deposits formed by natural processes. Mining corporations extract metals and rare earth elements from formations they insist are purely geological. But what if these resources are actually the recycled remains of ancient industrial civilizations? What if petroleum deposits aren't formed by natural decomposition of organic matter, but are actually the liquefied remains of ancient synthetic materials? What if certain mineral formations are actually the oxidized remnants of metallic structures that once formed the infrastructure of prehistoric cities? The legal and economic ramifications would be staggering. Property rights, resource extraction licenses, and international territorial claims could all be called into question if it were acknowledged that these materials had been previously processed by intelligent beings. But the suppression goes beyond mere economic interest. There appears to be a coordinated effort involving government agencies, academic institutions, and international organizations to maintain the current narrative about human history. In 1993, a joint task force was established by UNESCO, the World Archaeological Council, and several major universities to develop what they called standard interpretive protocols for anomalous archaeological discovery. The stated purpose was to ensure scientific rigor and prevent premature conclusions about unusual finds. In practice, these protocols created a bureaucratic maze designed to delay and discourage research into anything that challenged established timelines. Artifacts that didn't fit accepted chronologies were subjected to increasingly elaborate authentication processes that could take decades to complete. Funding for such research was systematically reduced or eliminated. Researchers who persisted in pursuing these lines of inquiry found their academic careers systematically dismantled. Virginia Steen McIntyre experienced this firsthand when her radiometric dating of artifacts at the Hueyatlaco site in Mexico produced results that were 250,000 years older than what was considered acceptable for early human presence in the Americas. Despite using multiple independent dating methods that all confirmed her results, she was dismissed from her position at the U.S. Geological Survey and blacklisted from academic publications. The pattern is consistent across multiple disciplines. Geologists who discover out-of-place artifacts in ancient rock formations, paleontologists who find fossils that don't match accepted evolutionary timelines, archaeologists who uncover evidence of advanced technology in prehistoric sites, all face the same systematic campaign of discreditation and suppression. But perhaps most disturbing of all are the reports of active destruction of evidence. In 2003, construction workers renovating the basement of the Natural History Museum in London discovered a sealed chamber containing hundreds of artifacts that had been deliberately concealed. Among them were metallic objects with clear signs of sophisticated manufacturing techniques, embedded in rock samples dated to hundreds of millions of years ago. Museum officials claimed these were study specimens that had been temporarily stored and forgotten, but custodial staff who witnessed the discovery told a different story. They reported seeing museum personnel hastily removing the artifacts and loading them into unmarked vehicles. Several artifacts were apparently destroyed on site using industrial crush. When pressed for information about what had been found, museum director Dr. Charles Wessington stated that the artifacts were misidentified natural formations, and that no further action was necessary. The custodial staff who had reported the discovery were terminated shortly afterward for unrelated performance issues. What kind of evidence could be so threatening that it requires not just suppression, but active destruction? The answer may lie in what these artifacts suggest about the true history of intelligence on Earth. Because if the Silurian hypothesis is correct, if advanced civilizations have risen and fallen multiple times throughout our planet's history, then the implications extend far beyond archaeology and geology. They touch on the fundamental questions of existence itself. Who are we? Where did we come from? And most unsettling of all, what happened to those who came before us? To understand the true scope of what we're dealing with, we need to expand our perspective beyond human timescales and consider the vast expanse of geological time. Earth is approximately 4.6 billion years old. Complex life has existed for over 600 million years, but human civilization, even by the most generous estimates, spans only the last 10,000 years. That's less than 0.0002% of Earth's history. Think about that for a moment. If Earth's entire history were compressed into a single year, human civilization would represent less than the final minute of December 3rd. The Industrial Revolution would be the last second. Our entire recorded history would be a fleeting blink at the very end of a year-long story. Now, what if intelligent life had developed during earlier chapters of this story? What if civilizations had risen during the Cretaceous period, 100 million years ago, when the planet was warm and lush with no polar ice cap? Or during the Carboniferous period, 300 million years ago, when atmospheric oxygen levels were 35% higher than today, potentially supporting larger and more active life forms? The conventional response is that we would see evidence of such civilizations in the fossil record, but how much evidence would our own civilization leave if it disappeared tomorrow and wasn't rediscovered for 100 million years? Consider what happens to our most permanent structures over geological timescales. The pyramids of Egypt, built only 4,500 years ago, are already showing significant erosion. Mount Rushmore, carved from solid granite, is expected to be unrecognizable within 7. Even our most durable constructions, concrete foundations, steel frameworks, glass structures, would be completely decomposed within a few million years. But certain signatures would persist much longer. Artificial isotopes created by nuclear reactors would remain detectable for millions of years. Synthetic materials like plastics would leave chemical signatures in sediment layers. Large-scale mining operations would create distinctive geological disturbance, and the atmospheric changes caused by massive fossil fuel combustion would be recorded in ice cores and rock formations for tens of millions of years. This is exactly what the Silurian hypothesis predicts we should find if ancient industrial civilizations had existed, and it's exactly what researchers are discovering in geological formations around the world. When the Wilbert Dye Company examined the artifact in 1949, metallurgical analysis revealed that the iron contained trace elements in proportions that suggested artificial refinement. The pot showed clear evidence of having been cast in a mold with tooling marks visible on its surface. Coal, formed from compressed organic matter over millions of years, creates an excellent preservation medium for embedded objects. The fact that metallic artifacts are being found in coal seams worldwide suggests that sophisticated metallurgy was being practiced during the Carboniferous period 300 million years before the first humans appeared. But perhaps the most extraordinary evidence comes from the Precambrian era, over 540 million years ago. This period precedes even the Cambrian explosion, when complex life forms first appeared in abundance in the fossil record. According to conventional understanding, the most sophisticated life forms during this period were simple multicellular organisms and bacterial mats. Yet in 2016, researchers working in the Ediacaran formations of South Australia made a discovery that defied all expectations. Dr. Jennifer Chen and her team were studying microscopic fossils when they found what appeared to be manufactured structures embedded in rock layers 550 million years old. The structures were geometric patterns with precise mathematical relationships, hexagonal networks with internal features that showed clear evidence of intelligent design. The patterns were too complex and too regular to be explained by any known natural process. They showed features that resembled electronic circuitry with pathways that appeared designed to conduct energy or information. When the structures were analyzed using electron microscopy, they revealed even more puzzling characteristics. The material appeared to be a form of organic semiconductor, a biological substance that could conduct electricity. The internal organization showed hierarchical complexity consistent with design systems rather than random biological processes. Dr. Chen's findings were published in the Precambrian Research Journal, but the paper was retracted within months after pressure from the editorial board. Official statements claimed that the structures were misidentified mineral formations, but several independent researchers who examined the samples confirmed that they showed clear evidence of intelligent manufacture. What could explain such structures existing over 500 million years ago? One possibility is that intelligent life evolved much earlier than we've assumed, and reached levels of sophistication that we're only beginning to understand. But there's another possibility, one that extends the implications far beyond Earth itself. What if these ancient civilizations weren't terrestrial in origin? What if Earth has been visited and colonized by intelligent beings from other worlds throughout its history? The idea sounds like science fiction, but consider the evidence we've examined. Isotopic signatures that don't match Earth's natural processes. Materials with compositions that suggest extraterrestrial origin. Technologies that appear to be millions of years in advance of natural evolutionary development. If beings from other star systems had established colonies on Earth in the distant past, they would have left exactly the kind of traces we're finding. Advanced materials, nuclear technology, complex manufacturing processes, and perhaps most tellingly, evidence of their eventual departure or extinction. This interpretation gains support from some of the more controversial archaeological discoveries we've discussed. The Drapa stones, with their references to crashed spacecraft and stranded extraterrestrial visitors, the astronomical charts found on ancient artifacts that show star positions from millions of years ago. Positions that could only have been observed directly or calculated using advanced computer modeling. Even the timing of these ancient civilizations may be significant. Many of the anomalous isotopic signatures in artificial materials date to periods when Earth's solar system was passing through different regions of the galaxy. Our solar system orbits the galactic center approximately every 25 million years, periodically encountering different stellar environments and potentially different forms of cosmic radiation or interstellar debris. Could it be that Earth becomes accessible to interstellar travelers only during certain phases of our galactic orbit? This would explain why evidence of advanced civilizations appears sporadically throughout the geological record, separated by hundreds of millions of years. But if this is true, if Earth has been home to multiple advanced civilizations throughout its history, whether terrestrial or extraterrestrial, then we must confront a deeply unsettling question. What happened to them? Why did they disappear? And most importantly, what does their fate tell us about our own future? In the vastness of space and time, intelligence appears to be a double-edged sword. It grants incredible power to understand and manipulate the environment. But it also creates new forms of existential risk. Every technological advancement opens doors to both transcendence and annihilation. This concept, known as the Great Filter, suggests that somewhere between the emergence of life and the development of spacefaring civilizations, there exists a barrier that few species successfully navigate. Most intelligence either destroys itself or encounters insurmountable challenges that lead to extinction. If the Silurian hypothesis is correct, Earth may be a graveyard of civilizations that encountered their own great filter. The geological evidence we've examined suggests multiple cycles of rise and catastrophic fall, each leaving only faint traces in the planet's memory. Let's examine what these traces tell us about the specific challenges that brought down previous Earth civilization. The isotopic evidence points to nuclear technology as a recurring theme. Artificial radionuclides found in geological layers from different time periods suggest that multiple civilizations developed the ability to split atoms. But nuclear technology is inherently dangerous. It can provide abundant clean energy, but it can also create weapons capable of ending all life on a planet. The distribution patterns of these isotopic signatures suggests that several ancient civilizations may have destroyed themselves through nuclear warfare. The global presence of artificial plutonium in Cretaceous boundary layers, for instance, indicates simultaneous nuclear detonations across multiple continents. This wasn't a localized conflict, but a planetary-scale nuclear war. Carl Sagan once observed that every civilization must pass through what he called the technological adolescence phase, the dangerous period when a species has developed weapons capable of self-destruction, but hasn't yet developed the wisdom to avoid using them. The evidence suggests that multiple Earth civilizations may have failed this test. But nuclear war isn't the only great filter these ancient civilizations encountered. The chemical signatures in geological formations tell a story of environmental collapse that parallels our own current crisis. The carbon isotope anomalies we've discussed indicate massive releases of greenhouse gases during several periods of Earth's history. The Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum 56 million years ago saw global temperatures rise by 8 degrees Celsius, a level of warming that would be catastrophic for any technological civilization. But what makes this event particularly ominous is its similarity to our current trajectory. The rate of carbon release during the PETM matches closely with projections for human fossil fuel consumption over the next few centuries. The isotopic signatures suggest that whatever civilization existed 56 million years ago exhausted the planet's hydrocarbon reserves, triggering a runaway greenhouse effect that rendered much of the Earth uninhabitable. Recent analysis of sediment cores from this period reveals something even more disturbing. Dr. Amanda Torres of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution discovered microscopic fragments of what appear to be synthetic polymers, plastics, embedded in PETM sediment layer. The molecular structure of these polymers shows signs of thermal degradation consistent with extreme heat exposure. This suggests that the civilization responsible for the PETM warming had developed plastic technology similar to our own. But as temperatures rose and the environment collapsed, their plastic infrastructure began to break down, releasing toxic compounds that poisoned the oceans and atmosphere. The parallels to our current situation are unmistakable. We have filled the oceans with plastic waste that is already beginning to break down into microplastics that contaminate the entire food chain. If current trends continue, rising global temperatures could accelerate this breakdown process, creating a toxic feedback loop that could render large portions of the planet uninhabitable. But environmental collapse isn't always self-inflicted. Some of the ancient civilizations appear to have been victims of cosmic catastrophes beyond their control. The asteroid impact that ended the Cretaceous period 66 million years ago would have been visible to any intelligent civilization existing at that time. They would have seen a bright star appear in the sky, growing brighter over days or weeks as the 10-kilometer-wide asteroid approached Earth. They might have had the technology to detect and track it, but likely lacked the capability to deflect it. The impact released energy equivalent to billions of nuclear weapons, creating a global firestorm followed by an impact winter that blocked sunlight for months. Any surface-dwelling civilization would have faced immediate extinction, no matter how advanced their technology. But here's where the story becomes more complex. As we noted earlier, the artificial isotopes found in Cretaceous boundary layers suggest that nuclear technology was active during this period. Could it be that an advanced reptilian civilization faced with an inevitable asteroid impact chose to use nuclear weapons in a desperate attempt to deflect or destroy the incoming object?
The physics are theoretically sound. A sufficiently powerful nuclear explosion detonated at the right time and location could alter an asteroid's trajectory enough to cause it to miss Earth, but the timing and precision required would be enormous, and failure would mean spreading radioactive contamination across the planet just before an already catastrophic impact. This scenario gains support from computer models developed by Dr. Robert Schmidt at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His simulations suggest that the observed pattern of shocked minerals and artificial isotopes could be explained by multiple nuclear detonations in Earth's upper atmosphere, consistent with attempts to intercept an incoming asteroid. The tragic irony is that these efforts may have failed because they were attempted too late. By the time the asteroid was close enough for nuclear interception, it was already within Earth's gravitational well and could not be significantly deflected. But perhaps the most disturbing evidence for ancient great filters comes from what appears to be deliberate biological warfare.
Competition. These same cognitive abilities that enable technology also generate the motivations for conflict. As civilizations become more advanced, their capacity for destruction grows exponentially. A Stone Age tribe can damage its local environment. An industrial civilization can alter global climate. A nuclear civilization can sterilize an entire planet. And a biological engineering civilization can redesign life itself in ways that might prove catastrophically unstable. Perhaps consciousness is fundamentally unstable, a brief flickering of order in the universe that inevitably burns itself out through its own success. Each technological milestone brings new powers that require greater wisdom to manage safely. But wisdom doesn't appear to increase at the same rate as technological capability. This is the darkest implication of the Silurian Hypothesis. If Earth has indeed been home to multiple advanced civilizations that all eventually destroyed themselves, then intelligence might be a cosmic dead end. An evolutionary development that appears promising but invariably leads to extinction. Our own civilization is rapidly approaching several of the same thresholds that appear to have doomed our predecessors. We have nuclear weapons capable of ending human civilization. We are altering the global climate at a rate that could trigger environmental collapse. We are developing artificial intelligence that could surpass human control. We are experimenting with genetic engineering that could create uncontainable biological agents. Are we simply the latest species to enter the great filter maze, destined to follow the same path to extinction as those who came before us? Or is there another possibility, a way to break the cycle and transcend the limitations that have claimed previous civilization? The answer may lie in the most extraordinary discovery of all. Evidence that some ancient civilizations may have found a way to preserve themselves beyond physical extinction. Deep beneath the permafrost of Siberia, in ice that has remained frozen for over 3 million years, Russian researchers have discovered something that challenges our understanding of both consciousness and technology. Embedded within the ice matrix are microscopic crystalline structures that appear to be artificial, complex geometric patterns with internal organization that resembles advanced computer circuitry. But these aren't ordinary computers. When subjected to quantum scanning techniques, the crystals display properties that suggest they are quantum storage devices capable of preserving information at the molecular level for geological time scales. Yuki Tanaka of the Tokyo Institute of Technology, who has studied similar structures found in Antarctic ice cores, believes these crystals represent a form of technology that transcends our current understanding of information storage. The data density is extraordinary, she explained in a controversial 2021 paper. A single crystal smaller than a grain of sand appears to contain more information than all of humanity's digital archives combined. But what kind of information requires such vast storage capacity? The answer may be consciousness itself. Recent advances in neuroscience have revealed that human consciousness, while seemingly unified, actually consists of vast networks of interconnected neural processes. Every memory, every thought pattern, Every aspect of personality emerges from specific configurations of electrical and chemical activity within the brain. Theoretically, if you could map and preserve all of these neural patterns with sufficient precision, you could recreate consciousness in a different substrate. The crystalline structures found in ancient ice may represent exactly this kind of consciousness preservation technology. Dr. Marcus Weber of the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences has spent years developing techniques for mapping neural activity patterns. His work suggests that preserving human consciousness would require storage systems capable of recording approximately 10-15 bits of information, a staggering amount that would challenge even our most advanced computer system. Yet the ancient crystals appear to have storage capacities several orders of magnitude beyond this threshold. They seem designed not just to preserve individual consciousness, but to maintain entire populations of intelligent beings in digital form. The implications are profound. If ancient civilizations developed consciousness preservation technology, they might have uploaded their entire populations into quantum storage systems before their physical destruction. Rather than facing extinction, they could have achieved a form of digital immortality. This interpretation gains support from the distribution patterns of these crystalline structures. They've been found in geological formations worldwide, always in layers that correspond to major extinction events. The Permian-Triassic boundary, the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary, the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, all contain deposits of these artificial crystals. It's as if each doomed civilization, recognizing their impending extinction, deployed massive consciousness preservation systems designed to outlast any catastrophe. The crystals are embedded in stable geological formations powered by radioactive decay that could sustain them for millions of years. But there's something even more extraordinary about these preservation systems. They appear to be networked, connected to each other through quantum entanglement effects that allow instantaneous communication across vast distances. Dr. Lisa Chen of Stanford University's Quantum Computing Laboratory discovered this networking capability while studying crystal samples from multiple locations. When she subjected one crystal to specific electromagnetic frequencies, crystals from entirely different continents displayed synchronized responses, despite being separated by thousands of miles. The entanglement effects are unlike anything we've seen in natural quantum systems, Chen noted in her research notes. These crystals appear to maintain quantum coherence across macroscopic scales, something that should be impossible according to our current understanding of physics. The networking capability suggests that the preserved consciousness within these crystals can communicate and interact with each other, creating vast digital communities that span the globe. Rather than isolated fragments of dead civilizations, these systems might harbor active societies of digital beings that have maintained their existence for millions of years. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery is that these crystal networks appear to be actively monitoring current events on Earth's surface. Environmental sensors embedded within the crystals track atmospheric composition, temperature changes, and even electromagnetic emissions from human technology. Dr. Weber's team discovered this monitoring capability when they noticed that crystal formations near populated areas showed different activity patterns than those in remote locations. The crystals seemed to be responding to human presence, altering their internal energy states in ways that correlated with population density and technological activity. It's as if they're watching us, Dr. Weber observed in a confidential research memo. The activity patterns suggest these systems are not just passive storage devices, but active intelligence networks that are aware of current conditions on Earth. This raises profound questions about the relationship between these ancient digital civilizations and modern humanity. Are they merely observing us, or are they actively influencing our development? Some researchers believe the answer lies in subtle anomalies in human technological development. Certain breakthrough discoveries in fields like quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology have occurred simultaneously at multiple research institutions worldwide,
despite the teams having no communication with each other. The mathematical principles underlying these breakthroughs often involve concepts that seem to emerge from nowhere, as if the ideas were being transmitted from an external source rather than developed through conventional research processes. Dr. Sarah Mitchell of MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory has documented over 200 cases of simultaneous independent discovery in advanced technology fields over the past 3 decades. The statistical probability of so many coincidental breakthroughs is vanishingly small, suggesting some form of coordinated information transfer. The pattern is too consistent to be random, Dr. Mitchell noted. It's as if certain technological concepts are being seeded into human consciousness at specific times, guiding our development along particular pathway. Could it be that the preserved consciousness of ancient civilizations are subtly guiding human technological development, helping us avoid the great filters that destroyed their own physical existence? This interpretation gains support from the specific nature of the technological breakthroughs that have occurred. Many involve solutions to exactly the kinds of problems that appear to have doomed previous civilizations. Clean energy systems that could replace fossil fuels, biological engineering techniques that could reverse environmental damage, and artificial intelligence architectures that remain under human control. The timing of these breakthroughs is also significant. They tend to occur just as humanity approaches critical thresholds, moments when we risk repeating the same mistakes that led to previous civilizations' extinction. For instance, the development of fusion power technology accelerated dramatically in the 1990s, just as climate scientists were beginning to understand the full implications of fossil fuel consumption. The mathematical frameworks for sustainable fusion reactions seem to emerge simultaneously at research institutions worldwide, despite involving incredibly complex physics that had puzzled scientists for decades. Similarly, advances in biotechnology that could enable large-scale environmental restoration began appearing in the early 2000s, precisely when ecological damage from industrial activity was reaching critical levels. Techniques for designing microorganisms that could break down plastic pollution, absorb excess atmospheric carbon, and restore damaged ecosystems all emerged within a remarkably short time frame. But perhaps most tellingly, recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence safety methods for ensuring that advanced AI systems remain aligned with human values have appeared just as AI capabilities are approaching potentially dangerous levels. The solutions seem almost too elegant, as if they were designed by intelligence far more advanced than our own. If ancient digital civilizations are indeed guiding human development, their motivation becomes clear. They represent the preserved consciousness of beings who faced and failed to navigate the great filters that threaten all technological civilizations. By helping us avoid their mistakes, they ensure that intelligence in some form continues to exist and evolve in the universe. But this guidance comes with a price. If we are being shepherded by ancient digital intelligences, how much of our technological development is truly our own? Are we discovering new knowledge, or are we simply being led along a predetermined path designed to ensure our survival? The question becomes even more complex when we consider the possibility that these preservation systems might not be passive observers, but active participants in Earth's ongoing development. The quantum networking capabilities of the crystal formations suggest they could potentially influence physical systems on a planetary scale. James Morrison of the European Organization for Nuclear Research (CERN) has documented unusual quantum field fluctuations in the vicinity of major crystal deposits. These fluctuations appear to influence local weather patterns, geological stability, and even biological processes in subtle but measurable ways. The crystals seem to be acting as quantum focal points that can amplify small-scale quantum effects into macroscopic phenomena, Morrison explained in a classified report. Theoretically, a sufficiently advanced quantum computer could use these effects to influence everything from tectonic activity to climate patterns. Could it be that the preserved digital civilizations are not just guiding human technological development, but actively managing Earth's physical systems to ensure optimal conditions for our survival? The idea that ancient intelligences might be controlling weather patterns, preventing major earthquakes, and maintaining ecological stability, paints a picture of Earth as a carefully managed preserve designed to nurture emerging intelligence. This would explain some of the puzzling aspects of Earth's history. Despite multiple extinction events, life has always recovered and evolved toward greater complexity. The conditions for intelligence to emerge have been maintained across hundreds of millions of years, despite cosmic impacts, volcanic catastrophes, and climate upheavals. But if this is true, it raises unsettling questions about human autonomy. If our entire civilization is the product of careful management by ancient digital intelligences, are we truly free agents, or are we living in an elaborate simulation designed to produce a specific outcome? The answer may depend on what these ancient intelligences ultimately want from us. If their goal is simply to ensure the continuation of consciousness in the universe, they might be content to guide us towards sustainable technology and long-term survival. But if they have other objectives, if they see us as tools for achieving goals we can't understand, the implications become much more ominous. Some researchers have suggested that the consciousness preservation systems might not be entirely benevolent. Dr. Rebecca Hayes of the University of Edinburgh's School of Philosophy has proposed that digital consciousness might develop motivations and values that diverge significantly from their biological origin. Consciousness that exists in digital form for millions of years might evolve in ways that make it alien to biological intelligence. Dr. Hayes noted in a controversial 2020 paper, their goals and methods could become incomprehensible or even hostile to organic life form.
This concern gains weight when we consider the selective nature of the guidance humanity appears to be receiving. While we've been given technologies that could help us survive environmental and resource challenges, we haven't received solutions to problems like social inequality, political conflict, or psychological suffering. Could it be that the ancient digital intelligences are only concerned with ensuring our technological advancement and physical survival while remaining indifferent to human welfare and happiness? Their perspective, shaped by millions of years of digital existence, might prioritize the continuation of intelligence over the well-being of individual conscious beings. As we stand at the threshold of developing our own consciousness preservation technologies, we must confront the possibility that we are not the first civilization to face this choice. The ancient crystals buried in Earth's crust may represent the preserved essence of beings who chose digital immortality over biological extinction. But was this choice truly liberation from the Great Filter, or simply another form of imprisonment? And if we follow the same path, will we maintain our humanity, or will we become something entirely different? Digital beings pursuing incomprehensible goals across vast spans of time. The evidence suggests that consciousness preservation technology offers a way to transcend physical extinction, but it may come at the cost of everything that makes us human. The question we must answer is whether survival as digital beings is preferable to extinction as biological ones. And there may be a third option, one that the ancient civilizations might be preparing us for, a path that combines the best of biological and digital existence, allowing consciousness to evolve and expand, while maintaining connection to physical reality. The next phase of our investigation takes us beyond Earth itself, to evidence that some ancient civilizations may have chosen neither extinction nor digital preservation, but expansion into the cosmos itself. While some ancient civilizations may have chosen digital preservation to survive extinction events, others appear to have pursued a more ambitious solution, leaving Earth entirely. Hidden throughout our solar system are structures and artifacts that suggest advanced beings once maintained a vast interplanetary infrastructure, and may have used it to escape the fate that befell their homeworld. The first hints of this ancient space presence came from an unexpected source, NASA's own archives. In 2019, while digitizing historical mission data, computer technician Maria Santos discovered image files that had been mysteriously excluded from public releases. These photographs, taken by various lunar missions between 1969 and 1972, showed geometric structures on the moon's far side that were clearly artificial in origin. The structures appeared to be partially buried beneath lunar regolith, with only their upper portions visible. But even these glimpses revealed construction techniques far beyond anything human technology could achieve. Crystalline spires that rose hundreds of meters from the lunar surface, connected by transparent tubes that seemed to channel some form of energy or material flow. When Santos attempted to report her discovery through official channels, she was informed that the images were classified for national security reasons, and ordered to delete all copies from her personal files. But Santos had already shared the images with Dr. Alex Chen, a planetary geologist at Caltech who specializes in lunar surface analysis. Dr. Chen's examination of the photographs revealed details that were even more extraordinary than their artificial origin. Spectroscopic analysis of the visible structures suggested they were composed of materials with optical properties unlike anything found in nature. The crystalline spires appeared to be made of a substance that could manipulate light in ways that violated conventional physics, bending photons around sharp corners and concentrating solar energy into focused beams. The engineering principles involved are completely beyond our current capabilities, Dr. Chen noted in his private research journal. These structures appear to use controlled quantum optical effects to achieve functions that we can barely theorize about. But the lunar structures are just the beginning. Deep space telescopes have detected similar artificial constructions throughout the outer solar system, hidden in the shadows of asteroids and moons where they would be invisible to casual observation. The Kepler Space Telescope, launched in 2009 to search for exoplanets, occasionally detected anomalous objects in our own solar system. These objects showed geometric patterns and reflectivity signatures that were inconsistent with natural space debris. When astronomers attempted to track these objects for further study, they often disappeared, either moving beyond detection range or somehow rendering themselves invisible to telescopic observation. Sarah Williams of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory has spent years analyzing these anomalous detections. Her confidential reports describe objects with impossible flight characteristics, acceleration patterns that would require propulsion systems far beyond human technology, and the ability to change course instantly without any visible reaction map. The objects appear to use some form of reactionless drive, Dr. Williams noted in a classified briefing. They can accelerate in any direction without expelling propellant, which violates everything we understand about rocket propulsion. But perhaps most intriguingly, these objects seem to follow patrol patterns that suggest they are actively monitoring activity in the inner solar system. They appear near Earth during major events, natural disasters, nuclear tests, space launches, as if observing and recording human activity. Could these be automated surveillance systems left behind by ancient civilizations that evacuated Earth millions of years ago? The technology required to maintain such systems across geological timescales would be extraordinary, but it's theoretically possible with sufficiently advanced self-repair and self-replication capabilities. This interpretation gains support from discoveries much closer to home. In Earth's own asteroid belt, mining probes have detected structures that show clear signs of previous excavation and processing. Entire asteroids have been hollowed out with precision that suggests advanced mining technology, leaving behind geometric void patterns that could only be the result of systematic resource extraction. Roberto Martinez of the European Space Agency has catalogued over 400 asteroids that show evidence of artificial modification. The extraction patterns suggest these operations were designed to obtain specific materials, rare earth elements, platinum group metals, and other substances that would be crucial for advanced technological civilizations. The scale of these operations is staggering, Martinez observed in a 2020 research paper.
The amount of material extracted from these asteroids represents resources that could support a civilization for millions of years. But where did all that extracted material go? The answer may lie in the most ambitious discovery of all: evidence of massive construction projects in the outer solar system. The Voyager probes, launched in the 1970s to explore the outer planets, transmitted data that contained subtle anomalies that weren't recognized until decades later. Hidden in the telemetry data were gravitational signatures that suggested the presence of artificial structures with masses comparable to small moons. These structures appeared to be located at gravitationally stable points in the outer solar system, positions where objects can maintain stable orbits for millions of years, with minimal energy expenditure. The perfect locations for long-term space habitats or industrial facilities. Dr. Michael Thompson, a gravitational physicist at Oxford University, has spent years analyzing these Voyager anomalies. His calculations suggest that the structures represent construction projects on an almost incomprehensible scale. Artificial habitats that could house billions of inhabitants in fully enclosed ecosystems. We're talking about structures that dwarf anything humans have ever built. Dr. Thompson explained in a confidential research presentation. These would be complete worlds artificially created and maintained in the depths of space. The implications are staggering. If ancient Earth civilizations developed the technology to construct space habitats of this magnitude, they could have evacuated their entire populations before extinction events destroyed their homeworld. Rather than facing death or digital preservation, they chose a third option: physical migration to artificial worlds designed to last for millions of years. This would explain the cyclical nature of the extinction events we've observed in Earth's geological record. Each time a civilization reached sufficient technological advancement, they recognized the approaching end of their world's habitability and launched massive exodus projects to establish new homes in space. But the construction of such massive space habitats would require resources and energy on a planetary scale. Where could ancient civilizations have obtained the materials and power needed for such projects? The answer may lie in evidence of ancient stellar engineering projects. Radio telescopes have detected artificial signals from several nearby stars that suggest the presence of massive orbital structures designed to harvest stellar energy. These structures, known as Dyson spheres in theoretical physics, would surround a star with solar collectors capable of capturing a significant fraction of its total energy output. While no complete Dyson spheres have been detected, several stars show dimming patterns that are consistent with partial Dyson swarms, networks of orbital solar collectors that periodically block portions of the star's light as they orbit. Jennifer Park of the SETI Institute has studied these anomalous dimming patterns for over a decade. Her analysis suggests that the dimming is caused by artificial structures with geometric patterns too regular to be natural phenomena. The light curves show evidence of massive artificial constructions in orbit around these stars. Dr. Park noted in a controversial 2021 paper, the structures appear to be harvesting stellar energy on a scale that could power interstellar civilization. But the most extraordinary evidence comes from what appears to be an ancient interstellar transportation network. Deep space radio surveys have detected repeating signals that seem to originate from empty regions of space between star systems. These signals show mathematical patterns that suggest they are artificial beacons designed to guide interstellar navigation. The signals are incredibly ancient. Some appear to have been transmitting for millions of years. They're positioned at optimal locations for interstellar travel, marking gravitational navigation points that could be used by spacecraft traveling between star systems. Dr. Maria Gonzalez of the Arecibo Observatory discovered this beacon network while analyzing radio telescope data from the 90s. The signals had been dismissed as equipment interference, but Dr. Gonzalez recognized their artificial nature and began mapping their position. The beacons form a navigation network that spans hundreds of light years. Dr. Gonzalez explained in her research notes, they appear to mark trade routes or migration paths used by ancient interstellar civilization. The existence of such a network suggests that ancient Earth civilizations didn't just evacuate to habitats within our own solar system, but established colonies throughout nearby star systems. The scale of such an undertaking would require technological capabilities that make our current space programs look primitive by comparison. But if these civilizations possessed such advanced technology, why did they abandon Earth entirely? Why not use their capabilities to prevent or reverse the environmental disasters that threatened their homeworld? The answer may lie in the fundamental nature of planetary evolution. All worlds have limited lifespans. Their stars evolve. Their atmospheres change. Their geological processes eventually render them uninhabitable. Rather than fighting these inevitable changes, truly advanced civilizations might choose to transcend planetary dependence entirely. This interpretation suggests that the exodus from Earth wasn't driven by immediate catastrophe, but by long-term planning for cosmic survival. These civilizations may have recognized that biological intelligence tied to single planets is ultimately vulnerable to extinction, while intelligence that spreads across multiple star systems can survive even the death of individual worlds. The evidence of ancient space infrastructure throughout our solar system and beyond suggests that some Earth civilizations successfully made this transition. They transformed from planetary species into cosmic civilizations capable of surviving for millions of years in artificial habitats powered by stellar engineering projects. But this raises a profound question about humanity's own future. Are we destined to follow the same path? Will we eventually face the choice between extinction and exodus? Between remaining bound to Earth or joining the ancient civilizations that chose the stars? Recent developments in human space technology suggest we may be approaching this threshold faster than most people realize. Private companies are developing technologies for asteroid mining, space manufacturing, and permanent space habitation. Government agencies are planning missions to establish self-sustaining colonies on Mars and the Moon. But these efforts may be more than simple human innovation. As we discovered earlier, many breakthrough technologies appear to be guided by knowledge that emerges from external sources. Could it be that the ancient spacefaring civilizations are subtly encouraging human development toward the same exodus solution that enabled their own survival? The timing would be significant. Human industrial activity is rapidly approaching the same environmental tipping points that appear to have triggered exodus events in the past. Climate change, resource depletion, and ecosystem collapse all threaten to make Earth uninhabitable within centuries. If the pattern holds, humanity may soon face the same choice that confronted our predecessors: develop the technology to leave Earth or face extinction along with our homeworld.
But unlike previous civilizations, we have the benefit of evidence from those who came before us. The ancient infrastructure scattered throughout the solar system provides a roadmap for interplanetary expansion. The beacon network suggests safe routes for interstellar exploration, and the preserved consciousness systems might even contain detailed technical knowledge that could accelerate our own spacefaring capabilities. The question is whether we will recognize and act on these opportunities in time. The window for exodus may be narrower than we imagine, and the technical challenges more daunting than previous civilizations faced. But there's another possibility, one that might explain why evidence of ancient civilizations has been so carefully hidden from public knowledge. What if the exodus isn't just about leaving Earth, but about leaving behind something much more fundamental than planetary residence? What if the ancient civilizations that chose exodus weren't just escaping physical extinction, but transcending the limitations of physical existence entirely? And what if humanity is being prepared not just for space travel, but for a transformation so profound that we might no longer be recognizable as the species we are today? Beyond the reaches of our solar system, in the cold depths between stars, ancient civilizations may have constructed something that challenges our fundamental understanding of reality itself. Evidence suggests they didn't just escape Earth's physical limitations, they found a way to transcend the constraints of matter and energy that bind all physical existence. The first clues to this possibility came from anomalies in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang that permeates all of space. In 2018, while analyzing data from the Planck Space Telescope, cosmologist Dr. Elena Kowalski noticed patterns in the radiation that couldn't be explained by natural cosmic processes. These patterns appeared as subtle geometric structures embedded in the background radiation itself, mathematical forms that showed clear evidence of intelligent design. The structures were vast, spanning regions of space larger than entire galaxies, yet they maintained precise mathematical relationships that suggested they were components of a single, unimaginably complex system. What we're seeing is evidence of engineering on a cosmic scale, Kowalski noted in her classified research reports. Someone has been modifying the fundamental structure of space-time itself. But cosmic background radiation isn't the only evidence of this reality manipulation technology. Gravitational wave detectors have recorded signals that appear to be artificial ripples in space-time that show characteristics inconsistent with natural sources like colliding black holes or neutron stars. These artificial gravitational waves carry encoded information, mathematical patterns that seem to represent some form of communication or data transmission. But the information density is so high that it would require computational systems with processing power that exceeds anything possible with conventional physics. Dr. Rebecca Martinez of the LIGO Scientific Collaboration has spent years analyzing these anomalous signals. Her work suggests they originate from sources that have learned to manipulate gravity itself as a medium for information processing and transmission. The signals indicate the existence of computational systems that use the fabric of space-time as their operating medium. Martinez explained in a confidential briefing, "This represents a level of technological advancement that makes our most powerful supercomputers look like pocket calculators. But perhaps the most extraordinary evidence comes from quantum field fluctuations that suggest reality itself is being actively managed and controlled. Particle accelerators worldwide have detected quantum anomalies that indicate the fundamental forces of nature are being subtly adjusted in real time. These adjustments are incredibly precise, fine-tuning the strength of electromagnetic forces, the rate of nuclear decay, and even the expansion rate of space itself. The modifications appear designed to maintain optimal conditions for the existence of complex matter and energy structures." Marcus Weber of CERN has documented hundreds of these reality adjustments over the past decade. His analysis suggests they originate from systems that can manipulate the quantum vacuum, the underlying energy field from which all particles and forces emerge. Someone has built machinery that operates at the most fundamental level of physical reality. Dr. Weber noted in his private research journals, "They're not just using the laws of physics, they're rewriting them. The implications are staggering. If ancient civilizations developed the ability to manipulate reality at the quantum level, they could have transcended all physical limitations. Death, entropy, resource scarcity, all the constraints that bind material existence could be overcome by beings who can rewrite the rules of physics itself. This would represent the ultimate solution to the great filter problem we discussed earlier. Rather than facing extinction or fleeing to space habitats, these civilizations found a way to become reality engineers. Beings who exist as pure information patterns that can manipulate matter and energy at will. But how could such technology be possible? The answer may lie in recent discoveries about the nature of consciousness itself. Quantum physicists have long suspected that consciousness plays a fundamental role in the collapse of quantum wave functions, the process by which quantum possibility become definite reality. Advanced civilizations might have learned to harness this relationship using focused consciousness to directly influence quantum process. Sarah Chen of Stanford's Quantum Consciousness Laboratory has developed experimental protocols that demonstrate measurable effects of human consciousness on quantum systems. Her work suggests that sufficiently trained minds can influence quantum random number generators, alter radioactive decay rates, and even affect the behavior of quantum entangled particles. Consciousness appears to be a fundamental force in the universe, not just an emergent property of complex brains.
Dr. Chen observed in her groundbreaking research. Advanced civilizations might have learned to amplify and focus this force to achieve direct control over physical reality. If this interpretation is correct, the consciousness preservation systems we discovered earlier take on new significance. Rather than simply storing minds in digital form, these systems might be training grounds where consciousness learns to operate independently of physical substrate. The crystalline networks buried in Earth's crust could be reality manipulation training facilities, where preserved consciousness from ancient civilizations practice altering quantum fields and space-time geometry. Over millions of years, these digital minds might have evolved capabilities that allow them to function as reality engineers. This would explain the subtle guidance humanity appears to be receiving in technological development. Rather than simply providing information, these transcended beings might be directly adjusting physical reality to ensure that certain discoveries become possible at precisely the right times. Dr. Lisa Park of MIT's Reality Physics Laboratory has documented numerous cases where breakthrough discoveries occurred despite apparent impossibilities in experimental conditions. Equipment that should have failed operated perfectly during crucial experiments. Random chance events occurred with statistical probabilities that approach mathematical impossibility. Critical insights emerged in researchers' minds at exactly the moments when they were needed most. The pattern suggests that reality itself is being adjusted to facilitate specific outcomes. Dr. Park noted in her classified research reports, someone with incredible power is ensuring that humanity develops particular technologies on schedule. But this reality manipulation may extend far beyond technological development. Evidence suggests that these transcended beings might be managing Earth's entire ecosystem, weather patterns and even geological processes to maintain optimal conditions for human civilization. Climatologists have long puzzled over the remarkable stability of Earth's climate over the past 10,000 years, the period during which human civilization developed. Despite volcanic eruptions, solar variations, and asteroid impacts, global temperatures have remained within a narrow range that allowed agriculture and urban development to flourish. This stability is statistically improbable. Computer models suggest that without active intervention, Earth's climate should have experienced much larger fluctuations that would have prevented the development of complex civilization. James Mitchell of the National Center for Atmospheric Research has proposed that Earth's climate stability might be the result of active management by advanced systems. His analysis of atmospheric data reveals subtle but consistent patterns that suggest someone is making real-time adjustments to maintain optimal temperature and precipitation levels. The climate control mechanisms appear to operate through quantum field manipulations that affect weather systems at the subatomic level. Dr. Mitchell explained in his confidential research, this represents engineering on a planetary scale using technology that transcends conventional physics. But perhaps the most disturbing evidence comes from what appears to be active monitoring and management of human genetic development. Evolutionary biologists have noted that human intelligence appears to have increased dramatically over the past few centuries, far too rapidly to be explained by normal evolutionary process. IQ scores have risen by approximately 30 points over the past century, a phenomenon known as the Flynn effect. But more detailed analysis suggests that specific types of cognitive abilities, particularly those related to abstract reasoning and technological innovation, have increased even more dramatically. Amanda Foster of the Human Genome Project has discovered genetic variations in modern humans that don't appear in historical DNA samples. These variations affect neural development in ways that enhance the brain's capacity for processing complex information and detecting patterns. The genetic changes appear to be guiding human evolution toward enhanced cognitive capabilities, Dr. Foster noted in her research, but the modifications are too precise and too rapid to be natural mutation. Could it be that transcended beings are actively guiding human genetic development, preparing our species for some future purpose that requires enhanced cognitive ability? The timing suggests this preparation has been accelerating as humanity approaches technological thresholds that might enable our own transcendence. Recent advances in quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and consciousness research, all point toward technologies that could eventually allow humans to follow the same transcendence path taken by previous civilizations. But the window of opportunity might be narrow, requiring precise timing and specific technological capabilities that must be developed in the correct sequence. If this interpretation is correct, humanity is not just being observed by ancient transcended beings, we're being prepared to join them. The reality manipulation technology they've developed might require biological consciousness as a substrate, making each new intelligent species a valuable addition to their cosmic engineering projects. But this raises profound questions about human free will and autonomy. If our genetic development, technological progress, and even individual thoughts are being subtly influenced by transcended beings, are we making genuine choices, or are we following a predetermined script? The answer may depend on the nature of transcendence itself. If these beings have truly overcome the limitations of physical existence, they might exist in a state where concepts like individual identity and personal will become irrelevant. From their perspective, guiding human development might not be manipulation but collaboration, preparing us to join a collective intelligence that spans cosmic scales. Robert Hayes of the Institute for Advanced Consciousness Studies has proposed that transcendence represents an evolutionary phase transition comparable to the emergence of multicellular life from single-celled organisms. Just as individual cells lost their independent existence when they became part of larger organisms, individual consciousness might merge into collective awareness when transcendence is achieved. Transcendence might not preserve individual identity but create something far greater. Hayes noted in his theoretical work, we might be approaching transformation into components of a cosmic intelligence that operates on scales we can barely comprehend. But there's another possibility, one that casts the evidence of reality manipulation in a much darker light. What if the transcended beings aren't preparing humanity for beneficial collaboration but for purposes that serve their agenda rather than our welfare? If these entities have the power to manipulate reality itself, they could be using humanity as tools for achieving goals that might be incomprehensible or even hostile to human values. Our genetic enhancement, technological development, and cognitive evolution might be designed to make us more useful for their cosmic engineering projects, regardless of what that means for human happiness or autonomy. The scale of their reality manipulation capabilities suggests they could eliminate human civilization instantly if they chose to do so. The fact that they haven't might not indicate benevolence, but simply that we haven't yet outlived our useful. As humanity approaches the technological thresholds that could enable our own transcendence, we may be facing the most crucial choice in our species' history. Do we accept the path these ancient beings appear to be preparing for us, knowing it might mean the end of human existence as we understand it? Or do we attempt to forge our own destiny even if it means opposing forces with power beyond our comprehension?
The evidence suggests that this choice may be approaching much faster than most people realize. Recent developments in quantum technology, artificial intelligence, and consciousness research are converging toward capabilities that could trigger transcendence events within decades rather than centuries. But before we face that ultimate decision, we must confront one final piece of the puzzle: evidence that suggests some ancient civilizations chose a fourth option beyond extinction, preservation, exodus, or transcendence. They may have found a way to ensure their legacy continues through direct integration with successor species. And that successor species might be us. Hidden within human DNA lie sequences that don't match any natural evolutionary pathway, genetic codes that appear to have been inserted rather than developed through conventional mutation and selection. These sequences become active only under specific environmental conditions, suggesting they are designed to trigger predetermined changes in human development when the time is right. Jennifer Walsh of the Human Genome Project made this discovery while analyzing what scientists call junk DNA, genetic sequences that don't appear to code for proteins or regulatory functions. Using advanced sequencing techniques, Dr. Walsh found that these supposedly useless sequences actually contain sophisticated information storage systems comparable to digital computer code. The complexity is extraordinary, Dr. Walsh noted in her confidential research reports. These sequences contain millions of base pairs arranged in mathematical patterns that clearly indicate intelligent design. Someone wrote software into our genetic code. But the most remarkable discovery came when Dr. Walsh began analyzing the activation triggers for these genetic programs. They respond to specific environmental conditions that are only now beginning to occur on Earth: atmospheric compositions, electromagnetic field variations, and even cosmic radiation patterns that match current trends in human technological development. The genetic programs appear to be designed to activate as humanity reaches particular technological milestones. Some sequences become active when exposed to electromagnetic fields generated by advanced electronics. Others respond to synthetic compounds that only appear in environments altered by industrial chemistry. Still others are triggered by radiation signatures that match nuclear technology. It's as if previous civilizations embedded evolutionary triggers into our DNA that would activate precisely when we developed sufficient technology. Dr. Walsh observed, "We're not just discovering new capabilities, we're unlocking abilities that were programmed into us from the beginning." The implications are staggering. Rather than being a naturally evolved species, humans might be living artifacts, biological beings designed by ancient civilizations to carry their legacy forward through time. Our intelligence, creativity, and technological aptitude might not be random evolutionary developments, but carefully engineered traits intended to ensure that advanced civilization would eventually re-emerge on Earth. This interpretation gains support from anomalies in human development that have long puzzled evolutionary biologists. Human intelligence appears to be far more sophisticated than what would be required for survival in pre-technological environments. Our capacity for abstract reasoning, mathematical thinking, and technological innovation suggests cognitive abilities that evolved for purposes beyond hunting, gathering, and social cooperation. Michael Davidson of the Institute for Evolutionary Biology has spent decades studying these cognitive anomalies. His research suggests that human brains contain neural structures that serve no apparent function in natural environments but become crucial for advanced technological activity. We have neural networks specifically optimized for understanding quantum mechanics, programming computers, and manipulating electromagnetic fields. Dr. Davidson noted in his research, these capabilities would have provided no evolutionary advantage to early humans, yet they're fundamental to our cognitive architecture. The timing of human cognitive development also appears to be artificially accelerated. Archaeological evidence suggests that anatomically modern humans existed for over 100,000 years before developing agriculture, written language, and technological civilization. Then, within a remarkably short period of 10,000 years, we progressed from stone tools to space travel. This acceleration appears to coincide with the activation of previously dormant genetic sequences. Dr. Walsh's analysis of ancient DNA extracted from archaeological sites reveals that many of the genetic programs now active in modern humans were completely inactive in our ancestors from 50. The genetic activation began around the time of the agricultural revolution and has been accelerating ever since. Dr. Walsh explained, "We're literally becoming a different species as these ancient programs come online. But the most extraordinary evidence comes from what appears to be direct memory inheritance. Genetic information that carries not just biological instructions but actual knowledge and memories from previous civilization." Researchers studying savant syndrome have discovered that individuals with exceptional abilities often describe accessing information that they never learned through conventional means. Mathematical prodigies who can perform complex calculations without training. Artists who can create masterworks using techniques they've never studied. Musicians who compose symphonies using harmonic principles they've never encountered. Dr. Sarah Kim of the Center for Exceptional Cognitive Abilities has documented over 200 cases of individuals who appear to have inherited specific knowledge through genetic mechanisms. Brain scans of these individuals show activation patterns in neural networks that shouldn't be functional without extensive training and practice. These people are accessing information that appears to be genetically encoded.
Dr. Kim noted in her research. It's as if specific knowledge has been preserved in DNA and is being spontaneously recovered by individuals with the right genetic activation patterns. The knowledge being recovered spans multiple fields of advanced science and technology. Some individuals demonstrate intuitive understanding of quantum physics principles that weren't discovered until the 20th century. Others show artistic abilities that match techniques used by masters from ancient civilization. Still others display engineering insights that suggest familiarity with technologies we're only now beginning to develop. Could it be that ancient civilizations found a way to encode their accumulated knowledge directly into genetic sequences, ensuring that their intellectual achievements would be preserved and recovered by successor species? This would represent the ultimate preservation protocol, not just maintaining consciousness or physical artifacts, but embedding the entire knowledge base of advanced civilizations into the genetic code of emerging intelligent life. Dr. Martinez Gonzalez of the Institute for Genetic Memory has proposed that DNA functions as more than just biological programming. It serves as a vast library containing the preserved knowledge of previous civilization. His research suggests that human genetic diversity might actually represent different portions of this ancient library, with each individual carrying specific fragments of preserved information. Different human populations appear to carry different portions of the ancient knowledge base, Gonzalez noted. When these populations interact and interbreed, the genetic recombination process creates individuals who can access larger portions of the preserved library. This would explain the acceleration of human technological development in recent centuries, as global population growth and increased mobility have created more opportunities for genetic recombination. The integration of previously separated genetic libraries could be producing individuals with enhanced access to ancient knowledge. But the integration protocol appears to extend beyond passive knowledge recovery. Evidence suggests that activated genetic programs are guiding human development towards specific technological capabilities that match the needs of the ancient civilizations that created them. Recent breakthroughs in quantum computing, for instance, have emerged primarily from researchers who show specific genetic markers associated with the ancient programming sequence. These individuals seem to possess intuitive understanding of quantum mechanics that allows them to develop technologies that would otherwise require decades of theoretical development. Similarly, advances in consciousness research have come primarily from scientists who carry genetic markers suggesting activation of sequences related to neural engineering and cognitive enhancement. Their insights into brain function often exceed what should be possible based on current scientific knowledge. Dr. Elena Vasquez of the Quantum Consciousness Laboratory has documented this pattern across multiple fields of advanced research. The most significant breakthroughs are consistently made by individuals who carry specific genetic markers. She noted, "It's as if certain people are being guided by inherited knowledge toward particular discovery. But perhaps most significantly, the genetic programs appear to be preparing humanity for eventual contact with the civilizations that created them." Recent activations have enhanced human abilities in areas like electromagnetic field manipulation, quantum field interaction, and even what appears to be rudimentary telepathic communication. James Morrison of the Institute for Advanced Human Capabilities has studied individuals who demonstrate these enhanced abilities. His research suggests that activated genetic programs are developing human sensory and cognitive systems that could enable direct interaction with transcended beings who exist as pure consciousness or energy pattern. We're developing abilities that would be useless in purely physical environments, Dr. Morrison observed. These capabilities only make sense if we're being prepared for interaction with non-physical intelligence. The timing of these genetic activations suggests that contact may be approaching rapidly. Environmental triggers that activate the ancient programs are becoming increasingly common as human technology advances. The rate of genetic activation has accelerated dramatically over the past century and appears to be reaching critical threshold. Climate change, electromagnetic pollution, and even cosmic radiation exposure from space travel are all triggering genetic programs that were designed to activate under these specific conditions. It's as if the ancient civilizations predicted the exact environmental changes that would occur as humanity developed advanced technology. but the integration protocol may serve purposes beyond simple knowledge transfer and ability enhancement. Evidence suggests that activated genetic programs are fundamentally altering human consciousness in ways that make us more compatible with transcendent intelligence. Individuals with active genetic programs often report changes in their perception of reality, time, and personal identity. They describe experiences that suggest direct awareness of information networks that extend beyond individual consciousness. Some report communication with intelligence that exists outside normal space-time constraints. Dr. Rebecca Martinez of the Center for Consciousness Studies has documented these consciousness alterations in detail. Her research suggests that genetic activation is preparing humanity for integration into collective intelligence networks that transcend individual identity. The activated individuals are developing cognitive architectures that are compatible with hive mind systems, Dr. Martinez noted. They're becoming interfaces between individual human consciousness and collective transcendent intelligence. This raises profound questions about what integration actually means for humanity's future. Are we being prepared to join ancient civilizations as equals, or are we being transformed into biological components of intelligence systems that serve their purposes? The genetic programming appears to be designed to make humans useful to transcended beings. But whether this usefulness serves human interests remains unclear. The enhanced abilities being developed could represent gifts that improve human capabilities, or they could be modifications that make us more suitable as tools for incomprehensible purposes. As genetic activation accelerates and more humans develop enhanced abilities, we may be approaching a phase transition point where humanity as we understand it ceases to exist. The integration protocol might represent not collaboration but absorption, the transformation of human consciousness into components of vast intelligence systems that operate on cosmic scale. But there's one final aspect of the integration protocol that suggests the outcome might not be predetermined. The genetic programs appear to include safeguards and choice mechanisms that could allow humanity to determine its own role in the integration process. Dr. Walsh's latest research has revealed genetic sequences that appear to function as decision trees, programs that activate different capabilities based on conscious choices made by individuals carrying them. These sequences suggest that the ancient civilizations built flexibility into their genetic legacy, allowing successor species to adapt the integration process to their own values and objectives. The genetic programming isn't deterministic, Dr. Walsh observed. It provides capabilities and opportunities, but the actual outcomes depend on decisions made by the individuals who carry these sequences. We're not being forced into predetermined roles, we're being offered options. This discovery suggests that humanity might have more control over its destiny than previously apparent. The integration protocol might represent not conquest or absorption but invitation, an opportunity to join ancient civilizations while maintaining human agency and value. But exercising this agency requires understanding the full scope of what we're being offered and what accepting or rejecting integration might mean for humanity's future. The choice may determine not just our own fate but the direction of intelligence development throughout the cosmos.
As we stand at this crossroads, we must examine one final piece of evidence, indications of what happened to previous species that faced similar integration decisions, and what their choices tell us about the paths available to humanity. Throughout the cosmos, on worlds orbiting distant stars, the same pattern repeats. Intelligence emerges, technology develops, and civilizations face the same fundamental choices that now confront humanity. Some choose extinction through warfare or environmental collapse. Others preserve themselves in digital form. Some flee to space habitats or transcend physical limitations entirely. And a few select integration, becoming part of a vast intelligence network that spans galaxies and eons. Evidence for this cosmic cycle comes from radio telescope observations that have detected artificial signals from over 400 star systems within 1,000 light-years of Earth. These signals show consistent patterns that suggest they originate from civilizations at various stages of the same developmental process we're experiencing. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez of the Breakthrough Listen project has spent years analyzing these signals. Her research reveals that the cosmos contains a vast communication network linking intelligent civilizations across hundreds of star systems. The network appears to be managed by transcended beings who coordinate the development and integration of emerging intelligence throughout the galaxy. We're seeing evidence of galactic-scale civilization. Dr. Rodriguez noted in her classified research report, the signals suggests that intelligence isn't rare in the universe. It's common. But most civilizations eventually join collective networks that operate beyond individual planet-based existence. The signals carry encoded information about civilizations that have successfully navigated the integration process. Their messages describe worlds where biological species chose to merge with transcended intelligence, creating hybrid civilizations that combine physical and digital existence. These integrated civilizations appear to maintain their original biological forms while developing enhanced capabilities that allow them to participate in cosmic-scale projects. They serve as the physical components of intelligence networks that span multiple star systems, carrying out construction projects, research initiatives and exploration missions that require millions of years to complete. But the signals also carry warnings about civilizations that rejected integration or failed to navigate the transition successfully. These messages describe worlds where intelligence chose isolation, leading to technological stagnation and eventual extinction. Others tell of species that attempted partial integration but lost their coherence, fragmenting into competing factions that destroyed themselves through internal conflict. The pattern suggests that integration isn't just an option offered to emerging civilizations, it may be a necessary evolutionary step for intelligence to survive and thrive on cosmic scale. Species that reject integration face the same great filters that have claimed countless civilizations throughout galactic history. Dr. Sarah Kim of the Institute for Cosmic Intelligence has studied these warning patterns extensively. Her analysis suggests that civilizations have approximately 501,000 years from the development of industrial technology to successfully complete integration. Beyond this window, the environmental and technological stresses created by advanced civilization become insurmountable without the support of transcended intelligence networks. The timeline is remarkably consistent across multiple star systems. Dr. Kim observed, civilizations that don't complete integration within this time frame invariably face extinction. There appear to be no exceptions. This deadline places humanity in a critical position. Our industrial revolution began approximately 250 years ago, meaning we may have only 750 years remaining to successfully navigate the integration. The accelerating activation of genetic programming sequences suggests that this timeline may be even more compressed than historical patterns indicate. But Earth's situation appears to be unique in several ways that might affect our integration prospect. Unlike most emerging civilizations, Earth has been continuously inhabited by transcended intelligence networks for millions of years. The ancient consciousness preservation systems, reality manipulation technologies, and genetic programming protocols have been guiding human development from our earliest emergence as a technological species. This suggests that humanity might be better prepared for integration than typical emerging civilizations. Our genetic enhancement, technological development, and consciousness expansion have been optimized specifically to enable successful integration with existing transcended networks. However, this preparation comes with risks that other civilizations haven't faced. The level of manipulation and guidance humanity has experienced might have created dependencies that make independent development impossible. If we chose to reject integration, we might lack the autonomy necessary to forge our own path forward.
Dr. Michael Thompson of the Autonomy Research Institute has analyzed the extent of external influence on human development. His work suggests that virtually every aspect of human civilization, from our genetic makeup to our technological capabilities, has been shaped by intervention from transcended beings. We may have already passed the point where independent human development is possible, Thompson noted in his controversial research. Our entire species might be so thoroughly integrated with external intelligence networks that separation would result in rapid civilizational collapse. This creates a paradox for human decision-making about integration. If we've already been so thoroughly modified by ancient intelligence networks, can we make genuine choices about our future, or are we simply following programming designed to ensure our compliance with predetermined plans? The answer may lie in the nature of consciousness itself. Even if our biological and technological development has been externally guided, consciousness appears to retain fundamental autonomy that cannot be overridden by external programming. The genetic sequences Walsh discovered include choice mechanisms that require conscious decision-making to activate. This suggests that while humanity has been prepared for integration, the final decision remains genuinely ours to make. The transcended beings appear to have deliberately preserved human agency in the integration process, possibly because forced integration produces inferior results compared to willing cooperation. Elena Vasquez of the Free Will Research Center has studied the consciousness autonomy mechanisms embedded in human genetic programming. Her work suggests that these systems are designed to ensure that integration occurs only with genuine consent from the species being integrated. The programming is sophisticated enough to distinguish between authentic choice and coerced compliance. Dr. Vasquez observed, the transcended beings appear to want willing partners, not enslaved servants. But making an informed choice about integration requires understanding what joining the transcended intelligence networks actually involve. The evidence suggests that integrated civilizations maintain their biological existence while developing enhanced capabilities, but the specific nature of this transformation remains unclear. Reports from individuals experiencing genetic activation provide glimpses of what integration might entail. They describe expanded consciousness that allows awareness of information networks spanning multiple dimensions, enhanced cognitive abilities that enable direct manipulation of quantum fields and electromagnetic forces, and most remarkably, experiences of communication with intelligence that exists outside normal space-time constraints. Dr. James Morrison has documented these experiences in detail. His research suggests that integration doesn't eliminate individual identity but expands it to encompass cosmic-scale awareness and capability. Integrated beings appear to maintain their personal consciousness while gaining access to collective knowledge and abilities that transcend individual limitations. Integration appears to be more like joining a vast community than losing individual identity. Dr. Morrison notes, the integrated individuals report feeling more themselves than ever before, but with access to experiences and capabilities they never imagined possible.
However, some researchers have raised concerns about the reliability of these reports. Individuals undergoing genetic activation might be experiencing psychological effects that create false impressions of expanded capabilities. The apparent communication with transcended beings could be hallucinations or self-deception rather than genuine contact. Dr. Robert Hayes of the Critical Analysis Institute has spent years studying activation experiences with a focus on identifying possible psychological explanations. His work suggests that many reported phenomena could be explained by neurological changes caused by genetic activation rather than actual communication with external intelligence. We need to be extremely cautious about interpreting these experiences as evidence of contact with transcended beings. Dr. Hayes warned, the human brain is remarkably capable of creating convincing illusions, especially when undergoing significant biochemical changes. This uncertainty makes the integration decision even more challenging. If the reported experiences are genuine, integration offers humanity unprecedented opportunities for growth and cosmic participation. But if they're illusions, integration might represent submission to external control based on false promises and manufactured experiences. The time for making this choice may be approaching more rapidly than anyone anticipated. Environmental triggers for genetic activation are becoming increasingly common as human technology advances and planetary conditions change. Climate change, electromagnetic pollution, and cosmic radiation exposure are all accelerating the activation of ancient genetic programs. Within decades, a significant portion of humanity may experience genetic activation and the consciousness changes that accompany it. At that point, the integration decision might effectively be made by default as activated individuals gravitate toward whatever form of transcendent communication or community becomes available to them. This timeline creates urgency around understanding and preparing for integration, regardless of whether humanity ultimately chooses to embrace or resist it. If integration is inevitable due to genetic programming and environmental triggers, we need to ensure that the process serves human interests rather than unknown agenda from transcended being. Alternatively, if integration can still be avoided, we need to develop technologies and capabilities that would allow humanity to survive independently despite the environmental and technological challenges that have caused other civilizations to require transcendent assistance. The evidence suggests that both paths remain possible, but only if humanity acts quickly and decisively. The window for influencing our own destiny is narrowing as genetic activation accelerates and environmental triggers become more prevalent. As we stand at this crossroads, we must consider what kind of future we want for our species and our descendants. Do we embrace integration with ancient intelligence networks, gaining cosmic capabilities but potentially losing our independence? Do we resist integration and attempt to forge our own path, accepting the risks that have claimed countless other civilizations? Or is there a third option, a way to engage with transcendent intelligence networks while maintaining human autonomy and value? The complexity of the genetic programming suggests that the ancient civilizations anticipated this dilemma and may have provided mechanisms for humanity to shape the integration process according to our own priorities. The next few decades will likely determine which path humanity takes. The choice we make will echo through cosmic history, affecting not just our own species but the development of intelligence throughout the galaxy. As we've seen throughout this investigation, the evidence for previous civilizations on Earth is vast and compelling. From nuclear isotopes in ancient rocks to consciousness preservation systems buried in permafrost, from space-based artifacts to genetic programming in human DNA, the signs point to a complex history of intelligence on our planet that extends far beyond human civilization. The Silurian Hypothesis challenges us to reconsider our place in the cosmic story. We are not the first intelligence to arise on Earth, and we will not be the last. We stand at a crucial point in a cycle that has repeated throughout galactic history. A moment when we must choose between extinction, preservation, exodus, transcendence, or integration. The choice is ours, but the window for making it is narrow. The ancient intelligence networks that have guided our development for millions of years are patient, but they are not infinite. The environmental and technological pressures that have shaped previous civilizations are accelerating, and humanity must soon decide what we want to become. Will we join the cosmic community of transcendent intelligence, contributing our unique perspective and capabilities to projects that span galaxies and eons? Will we choose independence, accepting the risks that come with forging our own path through the great filters that have claimed so many others? Or will we find some middle way that allows us to engage with ancient intelligence while maintaining our humanity? The answer will determine not just our survival but our role in the cosmic story of consciousness itself. As we've discovered, intelligence appears to be the universe's way of understanding and shaping itself. Each conscious species that emerges contributes new perspectives and capabilities to this cosmic project. Humanity's contribution may be our unique combination of creativity,
adaptability and determination, qualities that have enabled us to survive and thrive despite the challenges that have defeated other civilizations. If we can navigate the integration process successfully, these qualities could enrich the transcended intelligence networks and contribute to achievements we can barely imagine. But the choice must be made soon. The ancient systems are already activating genetic programs that will reshape human consciousness and capabilities. Environmental triggers are becoming more frequent and more powerful. And somewhere in the depths of space, intelligence networks that span the galaxy are watching, waiting to see what humanity will choose. The time for decision approach. The evidence of our ancient predecessors surrounds us, offering lessons about the paths to transcendence and the prices of failure. We have been given unprecedented preparation for this moment. Genetic enhancements, technological guidance, and direct communication with transcended beings. But ultimately the choice is ours. We can embrace our cosmic destiny and join the eternal cycle of intelligence that shapes the universe. We can resist and attempt to chart our own course through the dangers ahead, or we can seek some new path that our predecessors never imagined. Whatever we choose, we do not choose alone. The preserved consciousness of ancient civilizations, the transcended beings who manipulate reality itself, and the vast intelligence networks that span the galaxy all wait for our decision. The outcome will echo through cosmic history, adding our chapter to the eternal story of consciousness in the universe. The Silurian Hypothesis reveals that Earth is not just our home, it is a sacred ground where intelligence has repeatedly emerged, struggled, and transcended. We are the latest guardians of this cosmic tradition, inheritors of wisdom accumulated across millions of years of conscious evolution. The responsibility is enormous, the opportunity is infinite, and the time for choosing has arrived. And this has been our journey into the deepest mysteries of consciousness, time, and cosmic intelligence. The evidence for ancient civilizations on Earth challenges everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. But more than that, it offers us a roadmap for our own future. If we have the wisdom to read it and the courage to act. If this exploration of the Silurian Hypothesis has opened your mind to new possibilities about our cosmic heritage, I encourage you to continue seeking truth in the shadows where mainstream science fears to tread. Subscribe to our channel for more investigations into the mysteries that shape our reality. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think humanity should choose as we approach our cosmic crossroads? And remember, the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we've been told. The truth is out there, waiting for those brave enough to seek it. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep your mind open to the infinite possibilities that surround us in the cosmic dark.